All right, thanks, Brian, and welcome everyone to this October 14, 2024 meeting of the Homewood City Council. We don't have any proclamations or announcements tonight, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we're going to start with an invocation from Councilor Andrus, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone will please stand.
Can you please bow your head and pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us here in Homewood. Thank you for the wonderful people who serve and work for our city and our community at large, and for all those that are gathered here tonight. Please guide us tonight to work together to serve with open hearts and open minds. I pray we glorify you in all we do. Lord, 2 weeks ago, we asked a prayer for those impacted by Hurricane Helene. Tonight, we ask a prayer for those who are impacted by Hurricane Milton. And we thank you for all that you've done for us. It's in your blessed name we pray. Amen.
Everyone face the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Councilor Andrus. Mr. Sechrist, if you will please call roll.
Yes, sir. Councilor Gwaltney? Gear?
Here.
Holloman? Wolverton? Sims? Jones? Here. Smith?
Here.
Nelms?
Here.
Andrus?
Here.
Harden?
Here.
President White?
Here. All right, so we have a quorum. Next, we have the reading of the minutes from our council meeting of September 30, 2024. Those have previously been distributed. Entertain a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes and for approval of the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved 7-0. Okay, but then we also have our minutes from the specially called meeting of October 1, 2024. Would entertain a similar motion for these minutes.
So moved as well.
Motion from Ms. Smith and a second from Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved 7-0. Board vacancies. Excuse me. We have a Ward 3 BZA position that's coming open. I believe the person can serve another term. Is that right, Mr. Smith? Okay. So why don't we open that up until October 28th at 4:30. In addition, we also have an expected vacancy that's coming up on the City Council in November. So I want to give everyone plenty of time to apply for that is interested in it. So we're going to go ahead and you can submit your resume to the City Clerk's office until November 4th at 4 o'clock for anyone interested in the Ward 3 Place 2 seat for when Mr. Jones takes over my seat. So we will then work on those once we get past the 4th of November. All right. We don't have any additions to the agenda tonight, so we'll go straight to the consent agenda. We'd entertain a motion and a second to approve that agenda. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. Maybe it's already on here. Did we talk about moving the meetings? Do we need to add that to the agenda?
We did.
To other new business.
Yeah. Before we do that, let me just ask amongst this group, I've already asked some individually, who is going to be around on the Monday of Thanksgiving? Okay. So that's at least 7 of us. So, all right. That's helpful. So, yes, let's go ahead and add an item for that. That will be 08-10-24, request for consideration to move City Council meetings in November and December, and we'll go ahead and do January too, because we got to do it in all three. And we'll discuss that more when we get to that item in other new business. Thank you, Mr. Jones. So with the addition of that item, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gear, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those approved 7-0, which now brings us to the consent agenda, and I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of that agenda.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nelms, second by Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 7-0, which brings us to old business. First item, 070924, request to authorize the mayor to sign lease renewal agreement with Quadient for postage machine at City Hall, brought to us by Melanie Jennings of the Finance Department. And we'll start with a report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met October 7th, and for this voted 4-0 to recommend approval. Motion was made by Counselor Smith, seconded by Counselor Gwaltney.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved 7-0 and will be resolution 24-143. Next item, 080924, request to set a bid date for October 29th, 2024 for Fire Station 3 edition, brought to us by Chief Broadhead. Mr. Jones, I think you already have, you have a report ready for this one? I know we're not voting on it tonight, but.
Yeah, we're keeping it in committee, but we voted 4-0 to recommend approval of setting the bid date for October 29th, with bids being due by 2 p.m. and opened at 2:01 p.m. So that's our motion, but we also are going to keep that in committee for further action.
All right, so we'll set that bid date for that time. Next item, 090924, request to surplus in 1996 Pierce aerial apparatus. Last four of the VIN are 0403, and miscellaneous small equipment brought to us by Chief Broadhead and Blake Graves. And another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The committee met voted 4-0 to recommend approval. It was made by Counselor Gwaltney and seconded by Counselor Smith.
All right, Mr. Kendrick, would you give us a first reading, please?
Yes, sir. This is an order to declare a certain property as surplus. It's hereby established and declared that the following described personal property of the city is no longer needed for public or municipal purposes, and therefore declared surplus property. To it, a 1996 Pierce Air fire truck with a VIN number, the last four numbers 0403, and miscellaneous small equipment listed in Exhibit A, which has been provided by the 27 items of surplus property identified by the fire department. It's described in Exhibit A. Section 2, the mayor and the clerk is authorized and to direct the disposal of the 1996 Pierce Aero fire truck by consignment to Brindle Mountain Fire Apparatus for sale to the highest bidder, and to dispose of the miscellaneous small equipment listed in Exhibit A by auction to the highest bidder.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harden, second, was that Ms.
That was
Smith?
me, sorry.
Oh.
Frog in my throat.
By Ms. Smith. And a roll call vote, please. Mr. Segrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Nelms,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
President White.
Yes. All right, so that's 7-0, and we have a motion from Finance for approval. So if there are no other questions or comments, another roll call vote, please, Mr. Segrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Nelms,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
Harden,
Yes.
President White.
Yes. So that's also 7-0 and will be ordinance 2915. Next item, 100924, request for consideration of fiscal year 23-24 budget amendments for Park and Rec, Public Works, and Traffic Departments, brought to us by Berkeley Squires and Randy Hambley. And another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The committee met voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the Public Works amendments as well as the Traffic Department amendments. So it's 4-0 for both of those.
All right, so we'll do the Public Works one first. Any questions or comments on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved 7-0 and will be resolution 24-144. Now we'll do the Traffic Department. Any questions or comments about that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is also 7-0 and will be resolution 24-145. Next item, 110924, request for consideration of streetlights on Edgeview Avenue, brought to us by Counselor Gwaltney. And we're going to start with a report from Public Works. I believe Mr. Harden's going to report that out for us.
Yes, Mr. President. The committee met on October 7th, voted 3-0 to recommend approval and for the item to be submitted sent to Finance Committee. Motion was made by Counselor Gear and seconded by Counselor Harden.
All right, so we will refer that item to finance, and it'll come back to us once finance is done. All right, next item, 130924, request for permission to leave in place 4 crepe myrtles planted in the right-of-way at 717 Broadway, brought to us by Ben Ford and Cale Smith. Another report from Public Works, Mr. Harden.
Yes, Mr. President, the committee met on October 7th, voted 3-0 to recommend approval. Motion was made by Counselor Gear and seconded by yours truly,
All right,
Counselor Harden.
so we have a motion from Public Works. Do we have any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is, sorry, it's okay. So that is approved 6-1, and will be resolution 24-146. Next item, 040924, public hearing set for tonight for consideration of a sign variance at 2825 Central Avenue, brought to us by Crawford Square Real Estate Alpha Graphic Signs and Wyatt Pugh. And we'll start with a report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, the committee met on September 23rd, so it's been a while, and voted 5-0 to recommend setting the public hearing for this evening and referring it out to the full council without a recommendation pending the public hearing. The motion was made by Mr. Alamon and seconded by Ms. Gear.
All right. I see Mr. Smith coming up to the podium. So I'll go ahead and open this public hearing.
Yeah,
Did we-
so Cale Smith filling in for Wyatt Pugh tonight, getting warmed up for when this moves to the BZA soon. So temporary signs are not permitted, or not a permitted sign type in any of the downtown districts, and the sign vendor is here and has sent, I think, some recent exhibits.
Come on
Yeah,
up.
those two.
This is the applicant.
The applicant.
Yeah, you can come on up to the podium.
So this is what replaced the Shannon Waltrip sign?
Correct. All right, so, Mr. Smith, the variance here that's requested is because it's a temporary sign?
That's right.
Okay. That's the only variance?
That's correct.
That's the only issue? Okay.
Well, temporary signs aren't allowed.
Yes, I have a question.
in the downtown district.
Yeah.
It is a non-permitted use, right? This is
Yeah,
not
if they're not
permitted.
permitted, how
How
are we doing
do
the
we
variance?
allow a variance for something that's not permitted? Isn't that's not allowed, right?
Yeah, that's a good
Excuse
question.
me, Mr. Kendrick. You cannot vary, right,
Right.
yeah, that's what my
Okay,
my
that's-
understanding was.
That's where I was going with this
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So if it's prohibited by the ordinance, I don't
can't-
think we can
you
issue
can't give
a
a-
variance
right.
for it.
That's
Mr.
what we've
Jones?
always been told.
Yeah.
Is that just for the downtown district? Is it?
Temporary signs are,
So
Yeah,
that's not the
which-
case in other parts of the city?
that's correct.
Which is crazy in my opinion, because that means anybody who owns property can't put a for lease sign on it or whatever. I mean, it's, I don't know how it got in that sign ordinance. I wasn't here when that was passed, but it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, actually, I think you were, but,
I thought
but it was a big ordinance,
Anyway,
so.
I'll deny it in court.
But again, if that's something we need to take a look at with the
Yeah,
ordinance, that's one thing, as opposed to a variance for something that's currently prohibited by the ordinance.
And I would say, Mr. Harden, the ordinance is currently with Cale and his staff being looked at and changed to be moved to the BZA. So if you want to talk to him, you might want to do that.
I'll go get in front of the BZA and plead my case.
Well,
But
that
now
means
it's
so
right.
in the new sign ordinance, I know that there's probably no place for this, but in the new sign ordinance.
Probably not, but go
This is
quick.
still the same
Okay,
Right.
case.
so go talk to
And so
him.
you haven't made that change or thought about that change?
That's correct.
And I would, in this case, because this is not permitted and we can't give a variance for something that's not permitted, I would move to drop this item, actually.
Well,
Oh, wait,
hang
it's
on.
a public
I
hearing.
still haven't closed the public hearing.
It's a public hearing,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry,
Okay.
forgot.
So, is there anyone else here to speak for or against this item? If not, then I will go ahead and close the public hearing.
Can we drop it or do we have to vote? on a public,
Yeah, I
have
think
to
you
take a
need to
vote.
make a motion.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, motion for Ms. Smith, second for Ms. Andrus. All in favor? All opposed?
Nay.
All right, so that is 0-7, and the item fails. All right, next item, 290824, request for consideration to de-annex property at 2305 Montevallo Road, brought to us by Montevallo Partners LLC and myself. The applicant has requested to drop this item, and they're going to move forward with everything the way that it is. So I would entertain a motion, a second to drop.
Second.
All right, motion by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is dropped 7-0. That brings us to the committee referral agenda. I would entertain a motion, a second for approval of that agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion from Ms. Gears, second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 7-0, which brings us to other new business. 051024, request to authorize the mayor to sign a contract and pay fiscal year 24-25 budget appropriation for the Chamber of Commerce, brought by Bo Sechrist. This is an item that's already been budgeted. This is just getting the contract out of the way. So I'd entertain a motion and a second for approval of that authorization.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Ms. Smith, second from Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 7-0 and will be resolution 24-147. Next item, 061024, request for consideration of an ABC 140 special event retail license for Kathy G & Co. Inc., DBA No Show Ball, located at 400 Shades Creek Parkway, to be held on November 3rd, 2024. This is brought to us by Bo Sechrist as well. This is one of those come and pick it up things that requires a special event from, license from ABC, but really doesn't require anything else of us in terms of inspections or anything. They've already, I think ABC has already approved it, assuming we have no objection to it. So if anyone's got any questions about it, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise I would entertain a motion for not having an objection.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 7-0. Next item, 071024, request for consideration of approval of vouchers for the period of October 1, 2024 through October 14, 2024, brought to us by J.J. Bischoff and Mr. Jones.
Oh, wait. Oh. The meeting, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I'm going to do it
it's the
after
last-
this. But thank you. I've already forgotten it once. Please don't let me do it again.
This was my first of the new quarter, and it was a big one because it's the closing of the previous fiscal year and the beginning of the new fiscal year. So there were a lot of things that were split, and it was very confusing. Poor Kelly had to answer my 25,000 questions that I asked, but she did so, and I would make a motion to approve the vouchers from October 1 through October 14.
All right, so we have a motion for Ms. Smith, second for Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 7-0 and will be resolution 24-148. All right, which brings us to 081024, request for consideration to change the meetings in November, December, and January. Here's what I'm proposing. And it helps if you got a calendar in front of you, but if you don't, I'll do my best. All right. November has, obviously, Veterans Day falls on a Monday this year, which is one of the issues, and then, of course, Thanksgiving, but we think we've solved that. So we're going to double up with committees and council on November 4th. Then the week of November 11th, we will not have a meeting because of Veterans Day. On the 18th, we will double up again with committees and council. That will allow us to do committees on November 25th.
No, wait a minute. We're doing committees and council on the 18th?
Yes.
And to make up for the
It is-
25th?
No, that's going to help us with December.
Yeah.
So we'll
Oh,
double
that's
up on the
right.
4th, we'll double up on the 18th, do committees, on the 25th. Then that will let us do council on December 2nd, committees on the 9th, and council on the 16th. and then that way we don't run into a problem with Christmas and New Year's. And then when we hit January, we'll do committees on the 6th, council on the 13th. Martin Luther King Day is on the 20th, so then on the 27th, we will double up.
So say again, committees?
Yeah,
repeat.
committees on the 6th, council on the 13th, off the week of the 20th,
Okay.
and then double up on the 27th.
Okay, I'm sorry. One more time.
Yep.
Committee's on the 6th.
Committees on the 6th,
Council.
council on the 13th,
Oh, that was December. Okay.
MLK Day is the 20th,
Okay.
and then on the 27th, we will
Committees
double
and
up.
council.
Okay.
The only thing you're deviating, I mean, for those are normal times we would meet anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna have an extra, committee will fall, so that we actually won't change the council dates for January.
So December, we only have one, that I got lost in December. So on the 9th is committee, and on the 16th is council, and then what?
The 2nd is council.
2nd of January is council.
Yeah, so
Second-
we'll do
second of-
committees on
no,
that
no,
previous.
Second, yeah, 2nd
December.
December.
Right, yeah, but we're gonna do committees on November 25th, the
Okay,
previous
okay,
Monday.
okay. That makes sense.
To,
Okay.
to allow us to do
Those
council
are
on that
council.
first
Those are our
Monday.
committees for December.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Bo's gonna make sure we get all this right. Bo's looking at me like, y'all just be quiet and I'll get it to you right.
I'll send you your calendar invites.
All right, so, since we have enough on the 25th, I think that, of November, I think that all of that will work. That was really the only question. So, any comments or questions about any of that?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah,
And
mhm.
I'm not against any of this. I just wonder if we have ever met on Tuesday as opposed to Mondays, when Mondays are bad days because of holidays or whatever.
Yeah, and like instead of doubling up and
Yes.
things like that, we have done it occasionally. It
We just
generally,
prefer it.
yeah,
Okay.
it generally is harder to get us there, and the public has gotten so used to things
Monday
happening on
nights.
Mondays that we tend to get a lot of, well, can we put it off till the next time? Yeah, it's particularly hard on those two when we double up. So I agree, but anyway, that's why we haven't done it.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? If not, entertain a motion and a second to
Yeah.
approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gear, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 7-0 and will be resolution 24-149. Which brings us to the end of our agenda for tonight. Mr. Mayor?
Nothing tonight except for just a reminder to everybody that Congresswoman Sewell will be here tomorrow morning at 10:30. She's coming to the food bank at 9:30 beforehand, so I'll try to make sure that that she's here
Keep her on schedule.
promptly
Keep her on
at
schedule.
10:30.
thank
So that because I know she's got a very busy schedule tomorrow, but just reminding everybody, hopefully you can be there.
Sounds good. Thank you. Ms. Gear?
No announcements.
All right. Mr. Jones?
Finance will be at 5. And I don't think I have, I apologize, I'll be out of town tomorrow. So if somebody will just make sure that check gets in the bank, that'll be great. But I don't have anything further tonight, so thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I'll set special issues, and I'm gonna be super nice here. I'll set my special issues meeting to follow is it Public Works? that
Public
has an-
Works.
An agenda, okay, so Finance 5, Public Works, and then special issues after that. And I've reached out to most of you who are, liaisons for boards or, commissions, because I'm trying to get the website up to date with all of our members' expiration dates. That's not the right word. Term expiration dates, I should say. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, I think I sent everybody your lists as they are currently. If you can update me, I know I've received, Kale let me know that everything was good with them, and Kristen Trowbridge gave me good information on the Environmental Commission. I think I've got Historic Preservation set. And I think, Melanie, you responded to me about Arts Council. So, yeah, but if you haven't had a chance to look at that, just let me know. I'm going to try to get with Brian and get all of that updated on the website. And that's it for me.
All right. thank you. Ms. Nelms?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Ms. Andrus?
I do need to go ahead and set P&D, so I confirmed with Counselor Watley that he does want to discuss his item next week, so I've got that set. And then I did want to tell everyone that Daniel Chaplin was able to do his 50th half marathon in his 50th state. So he is officially a 50-stater and in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Wow.
So, yeah,
wonderful.
that's pretty cool.
Great.
Yep. So if you see him, tell him congratulations and send him a message. He'll be
I was trying
appreciative.
to say, I've seen him all the time
I
in the
know.
mornings when I'm walking, where he's training. So I
Yeah.
don't. Hopefully he's taking a break before,
He's-
and it may be a little bit before I see him again in the
He
morning.
is
but-
on cloud nine. That we had a little, his parents had a little reception for him Friday night, and we dropped by, and he was just beaming, and he showed me his wall with all of his medals, and it's pretty darn impressive. So, yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harden.
The only thing I have is, thinking about him and the things we have in our community that support people with special needs is off the charts. And I really appreciate Homewood for what we do and the support of this community for folks with special needs.
Absolutely. All right, well, I don't have anything else other than look forward to seeing everyone with Congresswoman Sewell in the morning, and appreciate greatly her getting us this wonderful check for an important stormwater project. So that is very needed and very appreciated. She and her office did a lot of work to get that done for us, so we very much appreciate it. All right, so with that, we will adjourn for tonight and see everyone in a couple weeks.